Stargate Hellraiser here, and some thoughts on 3.3. Back with a bit of a clusterfucky A6 I did last week of April's, kind of buried in my hard drive, so I have some backing video here on this one. Anyway, 3.3, Revenge of the Horde, which of course got some wow, wow people, and even Blizzard a little bit like, wait a minute. Believe me, if Final Fantasy XIV does what I think they're going to do at 4.x, you're really going to be raising the stink, Blizzard. Why don't you go clean up professional StarCraft first? Anyway, MSQ, Dragonsong War ends here in 3.3. Going to be interesting to see what 3.4 and 3.5 bring with that. With that happening in 3.3. Probably the other two-thirds of the Warring Triad. Who knows what else is the Warriors of Darkness. But the fact of the matter is I still have seen nothing that indicates to me we may not be heading right down the path toward a Final Fantasy XIV Cataclysm-style situation to force improved play, to force the players who are good to be good, the players who should be good to be good. That basically you get dumped, say, on some remote part of Alamigo, and you pretty much have to earn the world back early in 4X. But it's what it is. I mean, it's, that's going to be interesting. There's one new trial, and extreme mode of same trial. Looks like that's going to be Nidhogg, and probably the end of the Dragonsong War in 3.3. And then also we get a dungeon in the MSQ, new dungeon, and the kind of the hard mode of the old dungeon is Hullbreaker Isle. Kind of a pretty interesting decision there to put Hullbreaker Isle into the mix. Yeah, I never really cared for Hullbreaker Isle normal. It'll be interesting to see what they do for the hard mode of it. Hope to see some new tricks in the dungeon. It's not going to be probably about 190 required, since the best players, or the highest level players, are somewhere in the, well, highest if you don't do the Savage stuff, because of course that's going to, the odd number patch being the catch-up patch. This is going to be the catch-up to 3.2 for the Savage players. Get everything to 240, so you're probably looking at probably the non-Savage players, probably 225, 228, I think would be about as high as it could go, maybe 229. But there you go. That's, what you got for that. There's a couple of other new tricky little dungeon things I'll get to in a second. But more anima weapon stuff. That's probably to get your anima weapon to 240. And if it's anything like the 230 step, it'll probably be absurdly easy. I mean, I hate to say this, I think they've cheapened the anima weapon basically because of the fact that they've been wanting to face roll this game. And at some point, you either gotta serve them, or you gotta serve the good players. If you're gonna serve them, that's fine, but at least have some honesty about it. Anyway, we've got, I'm doing this off of memory, so, the treasure maps are going to take a little bit of a turn here. The dragon skins. The ones you never see used, and I don't pick them up anyway because you can't solo them. It's the recommended 8-player 60 map, and now some of the, as a random chance, they're going to be able to go down into a dungeon. A treasure map dungeon. I don't know whether the new dungeon for the thing, or whether this dungeon is called the Aquapolis. Aquapolis. One of them is named that. But apparently what will happen is the entry to the dungeon will be a prize in random in the Dragonskin maps. We're already seeing a raise in the Dragonskin map prices, which is, good for people that are actually trying to get those maps. But, again, it's one of those things, and we'll see how that all plays out. Now, I've heard conflicting reports on this deep dungeon, this, oh god, I forget what they call it, but it's basically the deep dungeon. It's almost a nice isle sort of a thing. It has its own progression. Eye level doesn't matter here. You almost start off as if you're level 1, whether that's your skill level or the skill level of the monsters, but it's almost looking like it's going to be nice Lyle out of 11 again, which could be good, could be bad. Depends on how many people end up doing it. Anyway, that one, you better have some big rewards, and I'm not even saying just soon into the process. You almost have to have some absurd rewards at the end, like, that eye level 300 glory gear that Neros was screaming for God knows how long, or whatever. But you pretty much almost have to have end of the patch eye level here on some of this end of 3.x eye level, probably 275, 300, wherever that's going to end up, because of course with all the catch-ups, your players are not, your non-savage players are going to be pushing 240 at the end of this. I'm 225, and I've been taking some time off doing Type 0, Just Cause 3, and a few other things, just doing crap. Again, it's getting kind of into that mid to late, between patch lulls, so there you go. And, so you got that. You've got, I talk about the catch-up, where people are going to catch up their lore gear to 240, is the Weeping City of Mahak. That's the Void Ark thing here. So that's going to be your big catch-up to get the non-savage players to 240. I may have said it already. If I didn't, I said it earlier in another try of this video, but the animal weapons are going to 240. Be interesting to see if that's going to be as face-rolly as the last thing, or whether it's going to actually require some doing. Basically 9,000 ESOs or some Crystal Tower runs. Now nobody's doing Crystal Tower again, so how that all goes down. Anyway, it's 3.3 is going to be an interesting patch. It's kind of a catch-up. It's kind of a middle ground as we're kind of getting into the mid, of this expansion. We're ending the Dragonsong War. We've got a few other things. Got a lot of things to tie up yet. We've got the Warriors of Darkness. I still don't think they cleaned up that mess in Ul'dah very nicely from 255. But did they just pull that punch completely? There are some who think that Amarek is actually playing both sides. That'd be a nice way to end 3-3s if you find out Amarek's actually playing with the Ascians or something. Knowing that the Ascians actually had some work with Thornton from the 430, Warriors of Darkness, and then there is this, where are we going for 4.0? Where are we going for 4X? We'll start finding that out in a few months at FanFest in October. Obviously you're going to have side quests, probably a little more Hildebrand, I think they really blew it on the Scholasticate, unless they're going to start really picking that up here, or just, as many people thought they would, just fold it into the Hildebrand. But there you go. You know, if they're really going to invest a lot into the feast, I think they really just have to start taking a look at the community of the feast and just say, wait a minute, we got some problems here that need to get solved now. You know, the match fixing, match throwing, and then at some point, you know, I am getting the very ugly feeling that not 3-3. It would probably have to be a 4-0 thing, but maybe they're beginning to prepare us. Nice 6K jump there. But it's 3-3 going to be an interesting patch. It's going to be a very interesting look as to where we are. And it really does get interesting to see how Ishgard and the Ishgardian continent and Dravinia start looking after peace is finally restored. Did I think they would end the thing in 3-3? Not really. I can see why they did, but it does make 3-4, which will be probably October, early November, very interesting, because, you know, we're at an interesting point in the game right now where I think some very real decisions are going to have to be made. Which Master of Square Enix is going to end up serving? I think they tried to up at least the morale of the goods in 3-2. I think it failed miserably. It's clear that the player drop-off is still occurring. And it may not be just the goods. It may actually now be some of the real questionable types too, that, you know, I mean, quality of play has really gone downhill here in the last several weeks. Does make it harder to want to log in, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's just my quick thoughts on 3-3, kind of parse through this little cold I've got. There's a lot of other things in 3-3 too. I just wanted to kind of cover some of the big stuff that interests me, and we will cut it here. We'll see you soon. Stargate Hellraiser and more videos are forthcoming.